It's time for Remodel Revolution. And now, an award-winning contractor with over 40 years experience. Here is Alex Guthrie.
Welcome to another episode of Remodel Revolution. We're coming to you live from the world headquarters of Remodel Revolution, right here, deep in the heart of the great state of Texas. I'm your host, Alex Guthrie, and my co-host today is Miss Poonam J. Patel of Urban Loop Studio. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning.
Yeah. So, contrary to what's going on in the world around us, we do not talk sports,
Or politics.
and we are never talking to mean people. We're
people.
nice people. No mean people. We're nice people. Welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Yeah, you look great today. You look great. That color is perfect on you.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's
I
you.
got some tips from Ziggy. I asked him. What
Ziggy,
color looks best on
Ziggy,
fit.
yeah. He gave me some hair tips. He did. He said, "Get rid of it." So I did. On today's show, of course, we're going to have Poonam's Pandemic Projects Part 5. Poonam's going to tell us how to take a room and make it a really special room. So the idea behind Poonam's Pandemic Projects is, of course, while we're stuck at home and a lot of us have moved to working from home, sort of moved our office space from the big high rise to the low rise. We've been discussing the last few weeks different projects you can do that will make your home a little nicer for you. And this is a really great segment today. Poonam's worked very hard on, and I can't wait to get to that. But first, I wanted to talk about a few tips, some things that I'm seeing in the news that I think are very relevant. I asked Poonam to comment on them as well. I was looking at doing some research and kind of looking around like I do earlier in the week before when I'm doing some research for the show, and I go on different websites and things. And a couple of weeks ago, we had Phil Crone on, and last week we had Matt Mitchell, both of which are with the Dallas Builders Association and involved in new home building. I just found something that said that softwood lumber costs are going up 30%, have gone up nearly 30% since April. And so one of the things that I'm seeing over and over right now in all of my research is that the cost of building materials is really jumping. And one report said by the end of this quarter, it may have gone up since I think a year ago, 114%, which is crazy. That's crazy. And it's making it difficult to build an affordable house. It's making it difficult to build even a small home that's affordable, particularly in urban America, in the city. You have to almost go out to the suburbs or even further out to find land that's affordable and to build a home. And that's taking people away, taking people out of town. And so I thought that we could discuss this morning, Poonam, some ideas on how to mitigate some of this as the builder. And of course, if you're the homeowner, the home buyer, and you're having a custom house built or you're having your house remodeled, you want to stay engaged. So this applies to you as well, because I truly believe that engagement from all parties is what makes these projects a lot more successful and affordable. Mm-hmm. So I have a few tips I wanted to share with everybody about mitigating some of these price fluctuations. My first thought is to order in bulk. So do you ever recommend to your clients when they're doing, say, a bathroom or a kitchen, get all your appliances and all of is what you can in bulk, your light fixtures, your appliances, your fixtures, plumbing fixtures?
Yeah, I mean, it's tricky. It's tricky. If you're doing cookie cutter homes and kind of repeating, then it makes sense to buy in bulk. But when you're doing custom homes and luxury homes, it's sometimes not predictable what people's tastes are and what they want. And so it's kind of difficult to buy in bulk from that standpoint. But when you're thinking about raw materials, like things that you don't see, like lumber, my standpoint is you have to look at the whole cost, right? So if you do buy in bulk, then how much is it going to cost to stow it? Where are you going to storage it? Where are you going to put it? And the good thing about what Alex is recommending is that the size of a stud is 2x4, and very rarely we'll need to use a 2x6. And so what I'm trying to say is that there's not very much variety in that in terms of lumber being used for a residential application. So it would make more sense to buy it in bulk, because you don't have to sit there and say, okay, well, I need this size for that and this size for that. It makes it easier because 2x4 is the most common material.
Well, in fairness, most builders, all of our projects, honestly, if we're doing additions or if we're building a new house, they bring out they'll bring out all the walls at one time, or the framing raw materials for it, framing material, or they'll bring out all the roof. You call them and you go, okay, we're gonna do the walls, so send that out, and they send a big semi. So what I'm really kind of going for with this idea is, for instance, if you're ordering plumbing fixtures, if it's a new house or if it's a remodel, a lot of times our clients are going, well, we're going to go shopping next weekend. And I'm like, okay, I want you to pick everything out. I want to order everything now so that I don't get, because here's the first thing that happens let's say windows. Windows are notorious for this. They'll say, you need to tell your client to order this week because there's a price increase coming up in 30 days. That is so stale. Knock it off.
Well, going back to the lumber thing, we're going to have to deal with this at some point in the future, if not now. Because if you look at the world from an environmental standpoint, there are very few trees left that are big. If you look just nationally within the United States, the largest trees are only located in California now, the redwood trees. And some of these lumber products, from cabinets and studs and things like this, the supply, the resource are becoming more rare. And so as a result of that, whether we deal with it now or later, we need to think of alternative options of what we can use. And there's so many people who have already done that. There's a company called Icon in Austin that is getting a lot of publicity right now, and what they're doing is 3D printing concrete smaller homes as an alternative to using lumber. I actually messaged two of the CEO and one of the investors out there just to see if I could get a tour and learn more about how it works. And so hopefully, I can report more back on that. But, there's also there's a small town outside of Dallas called Italy, and there's a guy there who does these dome housings. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, they're geodesic domes.
Geodesic domes, and his are basically made out of CMU blocks, which are concrete masonry units, and it costs $75 a square foot to build it, and then another $75 to build out. These numbers are from 3 or 4 years ago when I just stopped by and knocked on their door.
Really?
Yeah.
Good for you.
And then,
Did you look at the one that he's got that looks like a caterpillar?
Yeah, I went in there. He invited me to his house. He lives there.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, I didn't know that
Yeah.
the one that I was walking into was his house. It's a cute old couple. They're so amazing.
They've been building those things for, I guess they've been out there 25, 30 years. It's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing.
And then two more. There's metal housing that I'm trying to find creative ways to implement instead of using lumber. And then lastly, shipping containers. People are still really interested in using
That's
those.
very interesting. That's a great thought. I like your thought process. Of course, so I've remodeled houses all my life, so I've seen a whole lot of different ideas people have done over the years. It's really interesting because there's a historical ebb and flow to how people build houses. So during World War II, for instance, they were using all the lumber that they could produce for shipbuilding and for the war effort. And so a lot of the houses that I've worked on that were built during that time period were built out of concrete because they that's what they had. That's a building material. Some were built out of steel, some were built out of concrete. They didn't have wood. And so it's really interesting that we keep sort of circling back to those same things. So one of the alternate ideas, and this is kind of what you're talking about, is a metal stud house, where you don't have to use wood, use metal. But for saving money or mitigating price fluctuations, I have a couple of other things. And this is just sort of stuff we talk about all the time, and your contractor will agree, and you probably will too. Start and finish the project as expeditiously as possible. So if you want to save money, get it done. But how do you do that? You plan thoroughly and you limit the changes. And you design houses, so you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
Changes.
let's talk about changes.
Do we really want to do that
Yeah.
this morning?
Let's talk about how changes run up the cost and extend the time it takes to build a house.
It exponentially increases the budget, the timeline. Everyone has to pivot. And sometimes these changes, it's kind of like a Rubik's Cube. You have to still figure out if the other pieces will accommodate that change. And it's actually very dangerous, because sometimes you're like, oh, there's this really cool idea, let's do that. But then sometimes because you're having to do it so quickly and make decisions on the job site, and while the contractors are working on the project, like right now, when you make those kind of instantaneous decisions, it comes at a cost of not really being able to thoroughly think things through. And so then you don't realize the effect that it has on this other piece, and you're like, oh crap.
Yeah, no,
So
it's the chain effect.
The chain
and so it affects everything down the line. So when you're making what you think is and I've heard this so many times. Oh my gosh. I hear it from homeowners, I hear it from designers particularly. It's simple. It's simple. We're making a very simple change. Well, that one little change could affect 4 or 5 trades. And by the time you get, and you don't necessarily see it until the project's complete. And then you see the cost of it. And they're like, you told us it was going to be this much. And you're, and in my defense, I'll just say, well, it was. That was that much. But then there was all the other things that got tied into it that I couldn't predict. So anyway, plan thoroughly and limit your changes. And limiting changes just, all comes down to good planning. That's all. Take the time up front. That's how you mitigate the additional cost of a house. Daily project management is vital. If you have a bunch of workmen that are working on your house and they're not being managed, they don't know what they're doing, they're just willy-nilly out there doing the best they can to earn that $15 an hour, then you're going to run into some serious cost challenges. They get paid. Here's what I tell my clients: when they're on your project, they're on your property, they're getting paid. So don't waste their time. Don't chat with them. Be nice, but don't sit there and have that chat just cost you about $35. So be careful with that. Also, make sure that all the trades know their scope and they have their materials in front of them. A big money waster on a project, big money waster, is when these guys are walking around and they're going, what do I need to do? I don't know. No one's out here telling me what to do. Or a really bad one is, here's one that really eats your budget up. I've got to run to Home Depot. Where's so-and-so? Oh, they're at Home Depot. Well, they've been gone 2 hours. Well, I just know they went to Home Depot. I don't know where they went from there. This has happened for years. So if the materials, and this is all part of the project management, the materials need to be there for them, but when you hire a contractor, that person should either be there or have somebody there that is managing that project, or have someone like Poonam. You do that for your clients.
Oh yeah. For me, I want beautiful pictures on my website, on my social media. and I want the projects to be done as quick as possible because I get bored of being on projects. So I actually go out, and sometimes when I walk up to a job site and I see my drawings in a corner all crinkled up, oh my God. Oh my God.
That somebody's written their girlfriend's phone
Oh
number on
my
the
gosh.
back of.
You know what I did on that job? I like actually cut the pictures out, and I became the Post-it roommate. Right, I taped it on the wall. So like,
This is the room. This is how
this
it's
is the
supposed to
wall,
look.
This
Yeah.
is how it's supposed to look. And then we have a room where all the supplies go, and so I would label all of them like, this is a tile for this room. This is a tile, because I can't be there all the time, and sometimes the contractors, they think it's okay to pop in once a week, and so somebody needs to be the composer composing the orchestra.
Exactly.
And if it means I need to go over there and do that to make sure that my clients are happy, I'm going to do that. If I need to do that to make sure I get things done quickly and done so that I have beautiful photos on my portfolio, then I'll do that.
Well, let's go to our next item. Schedule. Make sure that you're keeping track of the schedule of the project with the project management team. It's vital that everybody's on the same page and they understand when things are going to be done. And it comes back to change orders, and all those things are affected. Your schedule's affected by all that. So it's critical that you at least have weekly meetings with your schedule. Daily communication with your management team is critical. I have an open line policy with all of my clients. They call me whenever they want, and sometimes not when I want them to. But it's okay. It's okay, because if you have a question, I want to talk to you about it and not wait till it's a problem. You, the owner, need to stay in contact with your contractor and engaged in the process. Now, I have had wonderful people that, this is hilarious. I had one lady, and this is 25 years ago, maybe 30 years ago, and she said, I want you to build me this house, and once you get started, you will not hear from me until it's finished. I died laughing. I went, yeah, okay, right. And of course, she was wrong. We became very good friends because we got to know each other real well, because we talked a lot, like you should. But you can't hand it off to somebody and then just walk away from it. And I know there's certain situations you can do that, particularly if it's a spec house or if it's. But when you're building or remodeling a custom home, you need to be in touch and communicating with your design team and your contractor. So those are some ideas to mitigate some of these cost, these sort of fluctuations in costs that are happening right now. And some of it's seasonal, some of it has to do with the pressure that's on the industry at the time, and other things. But these are some tips that you should use. And if you have any questions about them, make sure and email me, alex@remodelrev.com, or send me a question to me or Poonam on Facebook to Remodel Revolution. And we'll be happy to answer them and address them, and we'll put it on the air. Maybe we'll put you on the air. Who knows? We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about a couple of tips on the volume of remodeling is starting to pick up. People are starting to kind of come out of their shell right now. We have people calling us. They're finally going, okay, I'm done with this thing. I need to get this project done. We're going to move forward with it. We're going to talk about a few tips on what you need to do to stay safe still during the hopefully waning weeks and months of the pandemic. We'll be right back.
The hardest working and arguably most important system in our homes is our air conditioning and heating system. It heats the air, it cools the air, and it filters the air. That's why it's so critical to have it checked and maintained by the very best professionals available. It's time to contact Total Air and Heat at totalair.com. Get that system pruned and tuned. If you want to have the very best experience, you've got to hire the very best company. Total Air's employees are honest, well-trained, and thoroughly background checked. I never have to worry about sending their technicians out to my clients' homes. Family owned and operated for 3 generations, Total Air and Heat has been a fixture in North Dallas for over 60 years. Total Air is a proud dealer of the Trane air conditioning systems, and you know how hard it is to stop a train, so give them a call at 972-881-0020. That's 972-881-0020, or contact them at totalair.com today.
Things are looking a little bit better day by day on the pandemic front. Seems like things are, it's heading in the downward direction that we want it to. Thank God, because we are all tired of it, I know. And one of the ways I know that is that I'm getting phone calls pretty regular now from people that we had talked to pre-pandemic, and people that are just wanting to start projects now. And they're actually kind of relaxed enough that they're going to let us in their house and go to work. What happened initially, of course, is that everybody canceled everything. We don't want anybody in our house, and I don't blame them, because it was certainly scary. But it still is. We're not out of it. So I wanted to just give you a few tips on a few things that you need to continue to stay vigilant about if you're going to have people coming in your house to do any sort of a project. So one of the things that we learned from one of our interviews that we did is that people did not realize when this virus first started that they were tracking it in and out of their houses on their feet. This is something that they learned in China early on. And one of the ways that you can deal with that in your own home, and if you have workmen coming in and out, is to put a sticky mat at your front door. Now, this is a very interesting thing. This is a mat, and I found this on the Home Depot website. And this is a mat that you put down when you walk in. It just takes everything off your feet. And then at the end of the day, or at some point during the day, you can actually peel that top layer off and get a new layer that comes on. So I really like that. I thought that was a great idea. So either that, or people remove their shoes, which of course is not a real practical thing when you have construction workers in there. Besides, it gets kind of funky smelling. Anyway. The next item is to make sure that everybody continues to use hand sanitizer. This is a simple, inexpensive thing that can be done continuously during the day as people are coming and going. If they're coming, when they come back from lunch or wherever they've been, that their hands have touched something that wasn't in your house, make sure that they're using hand sanitizer. A lot of builders have sanitized, little stations set up around their projects, particularly at the entryways, and they just tell their people, just do your hands, wash them, and use the sanitizer as you're coming and going. Now, the next one, Poonam laughed at this. I don't know why. Porta potties. Now, the reason I thought this was important is because I actually have clients that when I'm bidding their projects, Poonam, they don't want to spend the money on a porta potty. They go, well, we've got a pool bath, use the pool bath. Or we've got an extra bathroom in the house, use that. We don't want to spend the money on a porta. First of all, porta potties are cheap. It doesn't cost hardly anything. That's money well spent. But let me tell you something, folks. You do not want the construction crew using the bathroom in your house, in your pool house. It doesn't matter. No, that's a big no. Porta potties are inexpensive, and just deal with it. Make that make that part of your budget. Have you had any homeowners tell your contractors they want to let them use the indoor facilities?
They designate one restroom that they can use, but not the other ones. Because, I mean, one time I walked into a job site and I saw a footprint on the toilet seat. I was like, do I use that one too?
I don't even want to know. I don't even want to know how that one happened.
Maybe I don't need to go then.
Yeah, we'll move on from a footprint on the toilet seat. Yeah, okay. Plastic dividers. When they're working in your house, make sure that the areas that they're not working in are sectioned off with plastic. You can drape plastic over doors and kind of block the doorways so that the dust isn't getting sucked into a room. You know, it's common sense stuff, but we tend to get a little lax every now and then, and you have to stay on top of it. So sometimes if you walk into your house, somebody's remodeling it, and it's filthy, and they haven't been replacing the plastic or replacing the paper. Now one of the things that I'll have my guys do is we'll put plastic down or paper down first, and then put another layer of plastic or paper on top of it so you can maintain the top part. There's also really good products now, that we used to not have. But there's really good products for covering floors now they're maintainable, they're tough, and you don't have to feel like you have to replace them all the time. There's also all sorts of dividers that we have that we put poles up and we drape plastic down, section off rooms or section off part of the house. There's a lot of ways. And a key thing when you're remodeling your house is to make sure they put filters over all of the air conditioning vents, even the supply and return, and they change them regularly, and that they seal. Now, I've had guys go and put 2 or 3 little pieces of tape to hold the filter on, so all the air comes in. It's just like, come on, man. Tape it all the way around, seal it, and you could use the blue tape or whatever you want to use, but make sure that it actually works as a filter, or it's no good to you. We had a client, we put a filter, the little room air filter system in, the little box that goes on the floor, and we filtered it. And the house stayed, as comfortable as you can have. You can't do a remodel without dust. That's just part of it.
That's just a part of it.
Yeah. I mean,
it's
you'll
reality.
make so much dust in your remodel, it gets in your neighbor's house.
Yeah.
So that can't happen. So anyway, those are our tips. Be careful when you get back to work. It's not over. So stay safe and stay vigilant. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to have a Poonam's Pandemic Project, another lesson from Poonam J. Patel. We'll be right back.
Imagine this, a totally customized, organized, and beautiful master closet. A home office that fits right into a perfect space. A pantry designed specifically for your storage needs. Imagine your home totally organized. It's time to call the design professionals at Closets by Design DFW and turn your dreams into a reality. With a design staff over 30 strong, Closets by Design works directly with you to create your dream space, and they build it locally, helping support the DFW community. Check them out at dallas.closetsbydesign.com or call them at 972-361-0010. Use the promo code RRV to find out about the amazing specials and discounts available. That's dallas.closetsbydesign.com or call them at 972-361-0010, and don't forget that promo code RRV. Closets by Design.
Well, Poonam has been educating us now for weeks on pandemic projects to help improve our lives while we're stuck in our our house. Take it away, Poonam.
Well, it doesn't have to be a cave. It could be your dream home staycation. If you follow Poonam's Pandemic Projects, I can help you improve your home turn it into a staycation one weekend at a time. So we've done 5 episodes so far, 4 or 5.
This is number 5.
This is 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you have 4 to catch up on. And today is going to be amazing because I'm going to show you how to create more space in your house without having to do renovation. Yay!
Yay!
No dust.
Yeah. No
No
dust?
people in your house. So basically, if you look at the homes that have been built, there's always some sort of like formal dining room, formal living room. Who uses these spaces unless if you're Batman? Or somebody who, I don't know, the Great Gatsby. Nobody uses these spaces. I've been into so many homes where as soon as you walk in that first room, whatever it is, it's become some sort of storage room.
It's a dust collector.
Or, yeah. And it's like, hello, this is like the entry of your house.
It's
It's
a bonus room for the maid. You know, she's like, she has to do, or he or she, I guess is there a he maid? Is there such a thing?
There are. There are.
So the person that cleans your house for you, they have to do all this horrible stuff like bathrooms and kitchens, and then they go, the bonus room, it's just dust. And that's that formal dining room or formal living room that you, the first thing you do is you go, well, that's where I'll put grandma's favorite dining table that I don't really like, but mom made me. My mom made me.
Yeah, stuff you can't get rid of. The
It's
heirlooms.
been handed down for 45 generations.
So I'm going to walk you through the whole process of taking that space and transforming it into something that you need, like a second office space or a place where you can do your new hobbies that you've discovered. I'm sure during quarantine, people have been sewing things and finding their inner creativity. And this is a perfect example of something that we did for a client. On the left, you'll see that first room. As soon as you walk into the entry and you look to the left, that image on the left is what you saw. You saw some
Wow.
portieres. You saw a bookshelf, some boxes.
Leftover lamps.
And I walked them through the lifestyle analysis tool, which helps them discover, okay, what do I need that my house is
What
not
is a
providing?
lifestyle tool? What is that?
It is a discovery process. It is kind of really digging deep inside of you to figure out what do you like, what do you want, what are your needs, and then to begin to build on it and turn it into a reality.
So is this like a questionnaire type thing?
Yes.
Wow.
It is the exact questions that you need to find answers to figure out what does that space need to be. For some people, it's simple, like, hey, everybody's working from home. I need a second office, or I just need a place to keep the kids. Maybe that becomes the playroom or something like that. So just figure out what you need, and we can help you transform it. And so here are the steps. You can either do them yourselves or you can always hire someone else to do it, your choice. But step 1 is to get rid of all the clutter. So my recommendation is to get 3 big boxes and just start throwing stuff in there. 1 box is labeled recycle, 1 box is labeled giveaway, and the other one is stuff I need to sell. So one way to really help you detach from your belongings, a process that you can implement is Marie Kondo. Marie Kondo, I'm pretty sure I butchered her name. But if you look on Netflix, she walks you through the whole process. Her show is called Tidying Up. And the essence of what she's talking about is to only keep the things that spark joy. If you look at something and if you take one item from that room and you hold it and it sparks joy or reminds you of a good memory, keep it. If it's a neutral item where you don't really have any feelings or memories from it, it's got to go. And if it's something that somebody gave you that you don't like, toss it. Get rid of it.
Something you can't remember how you ended up with. I remember the party, but how did I come up with that extra sock?
Sock has got to go. And so you can watch that, and she walks you through the entire process of how to figure out what to keep, what to recycle, what to get rid of. And if you don't want to do it yourself, and if you feel comfortable having someone in your space, you can go to her website, and she has trained consultants that will do it for you that you can hire. If you go to her website, I looked up how many there are here in Dallas. There are 3. So feel free to call or email any of them. I don't know if I have a slide with their numbers on provided for you, but if we have it, Ziggy will show it. Otherwise, you can look it up by yourself. Actually, here we go. So there's 3 experts here in the DFW area that you can just call and get them to do it for you. So that would be the first step, which is to get rid of everything. And then the next step is to figure out what you're going to do with those items in the box. So I've come up with a list of places where you can sell stuff. You can go to Facebook Marketplace. If you want to sell household stuff, you can go to Let Go, which is an app. 5 Mile is another app. They essentially are the same concept of Craigslist, but you can do it on your phone. And if you have clothes that you want to sell, you can actually make money off this stuff. Buffalo Exchange is a place where you can go to sell your clothes, Plato's Closet, Poshmark, and there's so many more, like Trade Up, just Google it. And then on the right-hand side, you'll see places where you can sell your electronics. You can go to Declutter, Buyback Boss, Swappa. Swappa is what I use to sell my old iPhones, iPads, laptops, and I've had great success with it.
That's 3 drawers in my house. I
Make
didn't know
money
I could
off of this
sell that
stuff.
stuff.
Sell it, make money.
Really?
Yes, and donate it if you can't sell it, or give it away or recycle it. My last resort, I would say, is trash it, but definitely try to make some money off the stuff you have, because there's so many people out there who would want it. So that's step 1, to figure out what you're going to do with all that clutter. Organize it into what I'm going to sell in that sell box, what I'm going to do to, who am I going to try to give this stuff away to. So sometimes I'll just take pictures of stuff and put it on Facebook, like free. If you want it, come pick it up Saturday between 1 and 2. Whoever wants it, it's yours. Recycle, and then of course, last resort, trash it. So then comes the fun part. So if you already know what you're going to do with the room, great. But if you don't, you're welcome to hop on my website and download the lifestyle analysis tool, go through the questions and figure out what you're going to do with the space. Or you can hop on to Houzz or Pinterest and just get some inspiration. Maybe it becomes a meditation room. Maybe it becomes a second office. Maybe it becomes a place where you can have a partial mud room or a reading room. So figure out what you want to do with that space. You can get so much inspiration off of Pinterest or Houzz. Houzz is spelled Houzz. Houzz is kind of like Pinterest, but it's specifically for homes and renovations and remodels and things like that. So you'll be able to find more stuff.
Houzz is more of a professional type. It's where you'll contact and exchange ideas with professionals. Pinterest is more homespun type things, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I like them both, actually. Yeah. Because I took my spare room and turned it into my fly fishing room. So
your man cave?
I guess it's a man cave, only in the sense that my wife won't dare come in there. Not because she's not allowed to, but she might step on a hook,
Oh.
So I tie flies, right? That's my passion, is fly fishing. So I tie flies, and I also build custom fishing rods. So one side of the room, I have a big bench, and it's got my rod building stuff. And then on the other side, I have a bench, and it's my fly tying stuff. And then right in between them, I have my music. So that's where I am at night, and it's fun. I love it. But you're exactly right. You find your passion, find something you're passionate about. Build a room for it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Why not? You deserve it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the most important questions that I ask my clients when they have these extra rooms and, I'm working with them one-on-one is, what is your passion? What would you like to spend more time on? I have a client who's into genealogy. And so, so that's like family trees and origins and family history and all that. So let's build a room around that. So, one of the things that we're planning on doing is creating an infographic of a family tree. Family trees are typically pretty boring looking and the font's really small, but we're going to figure out how to enlarge it and put it on the whole wall.
Wow.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Yeah, we haven't found anything that's ready made, so I think I might just have to like make something for them through Illustrator or something. But you know, to really build your space around your lifestyle, you deserve it. I mean, you're in quarantine. What are you going to do with your spare time? Find your hobby and really tap into that. The one thing that I've done for my house is I love to travel. I like to learn about different cultures. And so one of the things that I did was I got this giant map and put it on the wall, and I started pinning everywhere I've traveled. And, you know, I thought I had traveled to enough places that I could actually, you know, make it something cool. But then once I got done with it, I was like, what? This isn't, I have so much more of the world to see. I actually kind of made me a little bit depressed, especially because I can't travel right now. But, you know, find your passion and really bring it to life. Make that space the place where you can tap into, and it'll help expand that
Get you out, and it gets you out in front of the TV.
Oh yeah.
You know, I mean, one of the problems with everybody being stuck at home is we're all sitting here on the couch vegetating. And I'll tell you, I know from experience, I think we all know this, once you get into that kind of habit, it's really hard to break. It's super hard to break. So I love that idea. And of course, I'm a big believer in having that hobby room. And and one of the things is finding your passion.
Oh
and I
my
think
gosh.
we talked about this before.
It's so important. It's so important.
Yeah.
Do you want to sit there and watch somebody else live their life? I mean, for me, I'm so big on it. I mean, think of your life as a book. Think of your life as a Netflix show. When you're talking to your friends on the phone, are you giving them the same episode every time, or are you giving them new material to report? How interesting or boring are you? I mean, these are important questions to ask, you know?
Very interesting. Very
Yeah, I mean,
insightful.
every year I like to think, okay, what's the next chapter? What is the new album I'm going to put out or something like that, you know? I mean, you can sit there and be stale and stagnant and watch your life pass you by and watch Netflix shows and watch other people live their lives, or you can tell your own story. What is that?
Very, very, very insightful. Very insightful. Thank you so much. Is that it?
Yeah, that's all I have for
Wow,
Poonam's pandemic
wow.
projects
Well,
for this week.
You know, it's such a joy having you here. I enjoy it so much. You have such great energy, great ideas, and such great passion for what you're doing. I really do appreciate it so much.
Thank you.
And you're going to have another pandemic project for us next week, because you promised me 7.
Yes.
So you have to come up with.
Yes. So next week, I am working on something special for the audience here. I am working on bringing on an expert who, I'll give you a little bit of teaser. Should I give him a teaser, or should I keep
Absolutely,
it a secret?
absolutely.
Okay. So I actually have a call at 12:30 because I'm going to be interviewing this person to see if they're good enough for you guys. Yay! And this expert is, so it's basically tapping into other cultures. So Feng Shui and Vastu Shastra. So these are two concepts of how to bring more peaceful energy into your home. So sometimes there's like this, if you think about energy in your home, and, you know, sometimes you walk into a room, it kind of feels like a funk, or it just doesn't feel right. So these guys are experts in trying to help you figure out where do you place things, like in the northeast, southwest direction, to bring in more flow and chi and peace. And I just thought it would be an interesting thing to check out.
Yeah.
So,
And so Vastu is the Indian. It's Indian, right?
yeah, the origins are from India, and Feng Shui the origins is Asia. So
Asia, yeah. So it's kind of the same thing. It's bringing balance and peace and balance to your life. So I'm really looking forward to that. That's going to be so much fun. And we really appreciate all the hard work you're putting into this. It's really great. We're learning a lot. And so next week we're going to have that, and we're also going to have our good friend, my good friend, Jamie Gold. We're going to talk about wellness design and her new book that's coming out. She is a wonderful lady. She's a designer in San Diego. And so that's today's show. Wow, that was
It's
quick,
a wrap.
man. That flew right by. Thank you very much to On Air Media and Ziggy Becker. And thank you to all of our sponsors and our audience. You can find us on Facebook at Remodel Revolution. You can find us on Twitter at Remodel Rev. You can also find us on Pinterest. You can find us on Instagram. Check us out. Check out our website, remodelrevolutionradio.com or remodelrev.com. Until next week, this is Alex Guthrie. I hope you have a great week. We're checking out.
The views and opinions of this program are for educational and entertainment purposes only and are not intended to replace the recommendations of a hired professional.
You can catch Remodel Revolution anytime. Follow the show on the website, remodelrevolutionradio.com, or on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest, using the handle at Remodel Revolution Radio. You can always listen to the show on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, and TuneIn, and watch the show anytime on YouTube.